Good afternoon. My name is Richard Foxall. I work in the fashion department for UK Trade and Investment. I'm a stand-in for this presentation, so my colleague who was meant to present it is unfortunately ill, so I hope you bear with me. I've had about an hour's worth of preparation on this presentation, so no heckling at the back, please. Just for those that don't know, UK Trade Investment is a government department. We do two things. We encourage inward investment into the UK, and then the side that I work on, which is the export side, we're essentially trying to assist companies based in the UK to increase their export activities overseas. That's our pure remit. The way we're organised is we have regional teams around the UK. I'm based in London, but then there are sectors around the UK. In the larger offices, such as in London, we are sector-based as well. So in London, we have a team of 7 trade advisors, such as myself, and we concentrate on the fashion sector only. I want to talk about today is one of the programs that we do, which is suited to a lot of the companies here for small and medium enterprise companies. It's called the Passport to Export program. Covered that. Okay. So Passport to Export is it's a 12-month program. It's designed for companies, especially fashion companies, where you get advice such as myself for 12 months. You get 5 days of my time to act as a coach and mentor. Myself and my colleagues, we come from the private sector. Before joining a government organisation, I worked in the fashion sector for 25 years before this. In addition, on the program, you get some high-level training where we do events such as master classes. So this could include, for example, how to engage an agent or distributor, how to improve your website. So we'd focus in on some particular areas. Also, as part of the program, wherever there's an embassy or British consulate, which is currently in 100 markets, you can have access to the UKTI staff in the embassies and consulates overseas. Again, their remit is to help you to export to that country. And in offices such as New York, there's a very specialised fashion sector who have some great contacts for the American market. So the kind of thing we would do on the Passport programme, to start off with, we would do an export action plan. By doing an export action plan, we can often flush out some of the issues within your business. So, do you have the resources to export? Have you got the finance to export? Which countries are you going to go to? Who are going to do these jobs? Are you, by going overseas, maybe are you going to take your eye off your domestic business? You need to think about the time involved in exporting. Have you got the staff, the resource, and the means to do that? Have you thought if there's any legislation that you need to know about when you're exporting to a different country? Is there do you need to look about maybe forming a company in that country? For example, if you wanted to register a domain name in China, you need to have some sort of company presence in that country. For some products, not so much for fashion, but there may be like legislative requirements. For example, in terms of children's wear, there may be some safety legislation you need to be aware of for clothing. Also, within the program, you get a day's workshop where we would try to hone your strategy. You get to mix with other businesses, so you can also see similar problems other businesses are going through and how to solve them. And also we would try within that day to give you access to research, resources, how you can do a lot of the research yourself. If I was to be asked what's the biggest mistake any small exporter makes before they go overseas, I would actually say they don't do enough research. That going overseas to export can be quite expensive. You need to mitigate your loss by doing the research first, make sure you're ready to go overseas, make sure you've chosen the right market to go to. Okay. Look. So there is some criteria for joining the program. You need to be a registered UK business, registered on Companies House in Britain. There is a misconception sometimes that your product needs to be made in the UK, and that's not the case. So long as you can be a company which is importing a product. We're just asking that you're adding value to the product and adding value to the UK economy by importing at one price and selling at another. We ask that you can demonstrate an established trading history of 2 years or 3 fashion seasons, just to show that you are down the track of being in business and down the track of being ready to export. Demonstrate you have resources to support overseas expansion. For example, are you coping with the UK business okay? Do you have staff that can help you in the export process? As I mentioned before, you can't take your eye off the ball for your export, for your domestic business. Do you have the staff that can do the export work? You know, going overseas can be quite, can take up a lot of your time. You may need to go overseas quite a lot. Who's going to do that in the export process? So again, we would ask these kind of questions to flush out the answers and try and allow you to form a strategy. Are you committed to proactively growing your business? It may, not only in terms of staff and resource, but it may take money to go overseas in terms of travel, establishing a business, maybe registering domain names overseas. These are things that you have to consider. We also ask for eligibility for this program that export is currently less than 25% of your turnover at present. And finally, the minimal annual turnover is £250,000 in the UK turnover. This was a case study which was a client of my colleague Toyin. This is a jewellery company, Alex Monroe. They, as you can see from the quotation, from what they did in terms of exporting, it allowed them to go on an export journey, but to then work towards setting up their own standalone stores worldwide. It's a very good way to do things, like put your toe in the water before you commit considerable resource, but certainly have an end goal in mind when you go on the export journey. So things to consider for successful entry to the program and successful exporting. Brand awareness. Which market are you going to go to, and why are they going to want your product? Some markets like USA, easy market to go into, that they speak the same language, but from my experience, there's a lot of product in the States. What's going to make your product different to what's there already? And you know, how are you going to build your brand? If you get an appointment with a department store buyer, which may be a goal for some of you guys here, they're going to ask what you're going to do to support the brand. How is the end customer and client going to know about your brand? Protect your intellectual property. For some countries, I would say don't even go there before you've registered your trademark and protected your intellectual property there. It's difficult if you're a small business to have the finance to protect your IP, but if you don't, it can be very costly in the long term. Countries such as China, great opportunities there, but you need to register your name first. If you don't, they still have a first come, first registered rule. So someone else could register your brand name and they could legitimately sell a product like yours in that country, and it wouldn't be regarded as being fake or illegal. So do work into your business plans intellectual property protection. Price competitiveness. Depends sometimes where your product is being made, but if you're making in Asia, shipping to the UK, maybe shipping back to Asia, are you going to be price competitive in that local market? Maybe not. You need to allow for taxes and VAT if you're shipping into countries. You really need to do some research to find out if you can sell in your target markets. So research is key. Get a presence at an international trade show. It's a great way to explore the market. You can get inquiries from agents and distributors. It's a great way to explore the market before you commit resource. There is some funding available for selected trade shows as well under the Trade Access Programme. And you know, any questions you have generally about exporting, you can always send them to our general email box at fashion@uktilondon.org.uk. I'll just show you some of the, in addition to the Passport for Export programme, we've got some other services and support. Overseas Market Introduction Service. This could be where If you want some really detailed work done for you overseas, so for example, if you want to go to America and you want to speak to 5 department store buyers, you want to get appointments made and you want their details, we can do that work for you under the OMIS system, the Overseas Market Introduction Service, but it's a chargeable service by the hour. But still, I think it's very cost effective. It's a lot more cost effective than trying to get on a plane, try and find buyers when you're there. Also under that scheme, you can use the embassy premises for launch events as well, quite good for product launches. We regularly run in London and around the regions events and seminars on different subjects, all about exporting. Check out our website online, there's lots of stuff going on all the time. Outward trade missions, this is when we take a group of companies overseas. Next month I'm taking 20 fashion companies to Hong Kong. We're doing an event at the embassy. We've got lots of buyers coming to meet the British companies we're taking out. Trade show access program. This is where there's some funding for selected trade missions overseas. Trade shows overseas. It's not every single trade show. There's a list of about 400, but this is across all the industry sectors. But certainly a lot within the fashion sector are available for some funding for exhibitions. Inward trade missions, this is when we bring a group of buyers into the UK. We often bring in about 10 buyers from different companies, and we would hold one-to-one sessions within London or around the regions. Open to Export is the final one I mentioned. This is an online forum. So if you have got any questions about exporting, you can go online on the Open to Export web portal. You can ask questions. Sometimes the questions get answered by trade advisors such as myself. Sometimes they get answered by shippers or accountants. But it's a really good forum for asking questions about going overseas. So my contact details are here. Anything about exporting in the fashion sector, get in touch. There's a group of 7 of us in London. We would be very happy to hear from you.